Hello, good afternoon. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions and also to share some excellent news with you. As always, I like to share good news with you. And today we have, well, not today, but the past week, we've had two approved T visa applications, and I want to share that with you and then also talk to you about what comes next after a T visa approval. And then, of course, afterwards, I'm going to answer some questions. So go ahead and put your questions in the comments in the meantime. And then I'll go backwards and scroll through to look at your questions after I talk to you about this topic here. Now, I know many of you who have not been following me, maybe it's the first time seeing me. You may be wondering here, what is a T visa and what's the big deal? So, the T visa is a big deal. The reason being is the T visa is usually my client's last resort. It's the last solution to getting their work permit here in the United States. Um, Usually at the point where we apply for the T visa, not always, because T visa is available to anyone who qualifies. But the thing about it is, a lot of people don't know they qualify for the T visa. And it's when they come to me, they do their appointment, I do a full detailed evaluation, and so does I work with another attorney named Attorney Bria. Attorney Bria and I do a detailed evaluation to determine whether you can qualify for this as one of the options to get your work permit. And it's usually the last resort because the client has no other options available to them, but the T visa is available because of experiences that may have had in the United States. And so when it's approved, we're all breathing a sigh of relief. We're all overjoyed because the client sees the results that I had told them they would get. um, they when they started, they said they spoke to attorneys. Some of them speak to attorneys even before, and the attorneys tell them, go marry, find a spouse. And I feel that that's very condescending because finding a spouse isn't that easy, and usually they're implying that they should sell themselves short, go find an American to go marry and get the green card. So this does allow them the freedom to gain status here, get their work permit, gain the access to choice and freedom here in the United States without having to compromise themselves, without having to feel hopeless. It gives them the hope. So when that approval does come, it does mean a lot to our clients, and it means they can move on. But not only that, the exciting part is usually they can become reunified with their relatives, even if the relatives are in another country. They can become unified with them, and they can stay here as a family. So my T visa applicants, T status applicants who have been approved, their children, their spouse has then, because we also represent the children, the spouses, along with our client, we then, as soon as they get the approval, we work on getting them here so they can join their relative here in the US and get started on life. So whenever my clients do get the T visa approval, the next thing is, okay, great, we got the approval. When is the work permit coming? Because they know that the work permit is it's going to be coming in the mail next. So the work permit is a 4-year work permit that allows my clients to live and work anywhere they want to here in the United States. So they get the work permit, the physical work permit, and usually the approval notice comes with an I-94. So if you've ever come into the country on a visitor's visa, or you've come in on a visa, you know that your entry into the US is logged on an I-94. And the I-94 puts when your time expires, when your permitted time expires. when it expires, and if you've never been granted another status, it means you're out of status. So the I-94 represents a lot for our clients, because guess what it means? It means they have a new I-94 to show that they have official status to stay here, to live and work here, along with a work permit. So the I-94 comes, we send this updated I-94 to our clients, the work permit comes, and then the work, sometimes social security number comes, or our clients just set a very easy appointment at the social security office, where they then, the social security office uses their work permit to then get the social security number, and that will come in about 2 weeks, 2 to 4 weeks is when the social security number comes, and my clients are ready and set. Once they have the work permit, social security number, they are good to go and get any job they want, live anywhere they want in the country, because they have the tools necessary to do that. When my clients do have derivatives, they have a spouse, they have children, then it also means that and if they're in the US, guess what? They get that too. They get updated status because we submit additional documentation for them to get their status along with our client. And then they get their work permit along with our main client. So they get their work permit. So the children, spouses, even parents and minor siblings, meaning the sibling is under 18, can get this as well. But in order for parents and siblings, minor siblings, to get this, the main applicant has to be under 21 to get this. So it means a lot. It means a lot for everyone involved here. It changes not only my client's life, but my client, the family members of my client. Now, if the client's spouse, children are outside of the US, then we go ahead and we work with the embassy abroad, so in their country, to then get the relative here on a visa. When the relative gets here on the visa, they have the option of exploring applying for the green card. So you can apply for the green card by either applying for early permission to do that, or you can apply for the green card after 3 years of having the T status. So this is not just a temporary visa here. This is your gateway to your status here, your status, permanent residence, and eventually citizenship. So it is one of those forms of relief that sadly not a lot of attorneys screen for. We do. And unfortunately, not a lot of people are educated about what's happening to them and how they can qualify. So let me go backwards and let me just explain here how you can qualify for the T status. How is it that we find our clients who qualify for this? And you'd be so surprised how many unscrupulous employers and even family members, relatives take advantage of immigrants because they don't have their papers. In cases, they take advantage of them to the point where it's abusive, it exploits them, and it even restricts their freedom of movement and their ability to escape the situation. So if you're in a situation where you are working for someone, could be anybody. You could be working in the household. You could be working for a relative. You could be working for an employer who recruited you and hired you. Say they promise. So, for example, in the case that we just got approved, our client, they weren't tied down. They weren't physically beaten. They weren't even verbally abused, right? Where the person is yelling expletives at them. Why my client got approved here is because they were lied to. The employer intentionally lied to my client, told them if they came and stayed in the US and worked for them, while they were working for them, they would get them their papers, they would get them their green card. It was a lie. they had my client doing labor, hard labor for months and months, dependent on this promise, trusting the employer was going to do what was right, and trusting the employer and the promise. And the employer, they kept on asking what's going on with the papers. The employer kept on saying, oh, we have it handled, until came to the point where he got injured, and the employer didn't care. He got so injured he could no longer work, and the employer didn't care. Employer was fine with letting him go, and he was left with no papers, injured, unable to move forward. Now, mark you, an injury is not even required here to get the T status, but this is how my client ended up finding out that the employer was lying. Was they got injured and could no longer work, and when they're reaching out to them to get some help with the injury and get some help with moving forward, they didn't care anymore. They didn't care whether they were there or not. So that's how my client ended up outside of the situation. But it came out later that he didn't apply for his papers. He didn't intend to apply for his papers. But what this employer did was he told my client that if you stay here and you work for me, I'll get you those papers. I'll get you your permanent residence. And since he intentionally lied, that is labor trafficking by fraud. Labor trafficking by fraud. Because trafficking, not only does it doesn't have to require physical abuse, force. It doesn't require all of that. But what it does require that this kind of luring someone into working happened by fraud, meaning you were told lies, you were misled. It happened by coercion. Say, when you started to get into the situation, they made you feel like you couldn't leave, right? They maybe started to hint that they had ties to immigration. They have immigration officers on their family. They have ties to ICE. They're powerful. They can get you deported. So you're afraid to leave. You're afraid to even stand up for yourself. You're afraid to set boundaries with the employer because they have set a type of tone that have made you fear standing up for yourself, leaving the situation. So that's a form of coercion, right? And then of course force. And force is, there's some physical element to it. There's some physical force involved, but it is not required, right? And so in this case, it was only fraud. The employer used fraud to lure my client into working for them. And my client has now gotten their T status to be able to move forward and truly excel after being set back by this kind of fraud by the employer. And keep in mind, as a T status holder, not only does it allow you to get your work permit, it not only allows you to get your green card, but in the meantime, while you're trying to get back on track, because as I said here, in this case, my client was injured. In other cases, my clients have been mentally and physically injured or traumatized. And because of that, many of them are in need of mental and also mental health treatment. And they are also in need of sometimes physical treatments because the kind of work that they're exposed to, the level of work, the hours that they had to work, it causes them injuries, back pains, arm pains. It causes them, fatigue in their extremities. And because of that, they need medical assistance, they need therapy, they need physical therapy. And having T status does also give you access to get medical help and medical insurance, Medicaid if necessary. So it is something that not only gives you status here, gives you a peace of mind, but it gives you access to be able to seek certain services that you would need without having to think about the costs associated with it. My clients are not forced to have case managers, but they have access to any kind of case managers that can help them to get this kind of relief as well. So if they want to go to school, they want to go get medical care, they want to seek housing, they need food assistance, that is also available to them as well. So I want to share this with you, that after we get the approval, these are the types of benefits: the work permit, getting the green card, getting certain social benefits. These are the benefits that my clients are able to access, even when it seemed hopeless. Another very important thing to note here is that in cases where you have if you have criminal issues in your background, if you cross the border without permission, if you're out of status, this T status is still available to you. And in the case where you need forgiveness for those, you can get forgiveness. So don't let any kind of circumstance that is happening stop you from at least scheduling some time with me, or Attorney Bria, to evaluate whether this could be an option for you, especially if you've been told you have no hope, but you do relate to experiences like this where you've been mistreated, you've been abused, you've been exploited, you've been overworked, you've been underpaid, they've not paid you for your work because of your immigration status. If you can relate to these kind of situations, it's time to get with me, because now is the time. And the types of qualifying factors here that I'm listing, the things that qualify you here, the scenarios, these are not things that I'm making up. I've gotten approvals for my clients based on this, and the USCIS policy manual explicitly lists these situations as situations that can qualify you for T status. So it's here for you. Don't be afraid to reach out. It's a very confidential process. So I say start with that. Don't make any assumptions. Don't write yourself out of qualifying for this. First, talk to me, find out what this process looks like. One thing I can tell you is it is very confidential. In some cases, I've even gotten this approved for my clients who have been in the situation. They are being trafficked as we work with our client. They are living in the same household as the person who is doing the mistreating, and they were still able to get their status and get out after getting approved, because sometimes getting approved first is the way they can escape, right? Because sometimes maybe the person who's doing the mistreating, doing the exploiting, doing the lying, sometimes what happens is they have control over the financial security, the shelter, the food for my clients. And so they can't just get up and go. They have to have a plan, and getting the T status is a part of the escape plan here. So that just goes to show you how confidential this process is, that my clients can get this and even still be in the situation, but use it as a way to, we work with our clients safely to allow them an escape route out of the situation so they can empower themselves. So um, yeah, so I just wanted to share that with you, and then share with you how we're able, what happens after the approval, because our clients is like the whole process is like a roller coaster. We go through the preparation process, then everything goes very quiet, and that can be nerve-wracking for my clients when things go quiet, and then boom, life changes for the better. And everything that we fight for, everything we work towards, comes to fruition in the moment they get that approval. And then again, it's just constant repeated joys, because then the family members come to the US and they get to see their family members after not seeing their family members for years, sometimes not seeing their family members for months. They get to be with their family members, and that again is another thrilling time for my clients, and for me to watch my clients go through. So It's here for you guys. Just give me a call, schedule your appointment, and let's talk about whether you can qualify for this. Now, I see a ton of questions coming in, and I want to get to your questions because I've been away, and I want to make sure that I can get through all of these questions with you. So let's go. I would like to set up a consultation with you. Someone took my number, said I would get a call back, and I haven't. So it might be very busy, but we will get back to you. So our staff, you're definitely on the list. The staff will get back to you. If you don't hear from anyone by the end of the day or by tomorrow at the latest, go ahead and call us back and just let them know you're doing the second call back. You want to get a call back from staff to set up an appointment. But we definitely we go through this, just that the phone lines might be busy right now, but we will definitely call you. Now, another thing, since it seems like here you want to schedule your appointment, what you can do is go to the link in the profile, and the link in the profile page here on Instagram, but you can do it in the description of the video on YouTube, Facebook, and you can go link in bio on TikTok. Click on the link. There is a button at the very top that allows you to just schedule your own appointment. You can choose either me or you can choose Attorney Bria to schedule with, depending on what your schedule looks like. It's really easy. You confirm your appointment and you will be on my calendar or Attorney Bria's calendar. So if you want to do that, go ahead and do that now. If you know you just want to schedule an appointment, go ahead, do that. It's it's easy, and it makes sure you can secure your spot before the time, before the slots get filled up. Please, I'd like to know if it's possible to apply for a work permit if you're overstayed. Yes, so it is possible, but I also want to manage your expectations here. My clients, most of my clients who actually 100% of my clients who have applied for T status here have overstayed their visa or have maybe come into the country without permission because of certain circumstances. And so it is possible, yes, but just overstaying alone isn't going to qualify you, because it's not going to qualify. Just by overstaying, it's not going to qualify you for the work permit. What qualifies you for the work permit are, I'm going to put it into, three main categories. So it's either, your family ties. Is there a family member, qualifying family member that can petition for you? Or it's going to be your circumstances. Did you face any circumstances that allows you to apply for the work permit? And then keep in mind, you don't the work permit is a part of it, but what you're applying for is you qualify for status here. You qualify to get back into status, and in the process, should you be approved or while you're waiting for the process to be approved, you get your work permit. So this is where it's important. The consultation is very important because it's not a one size fits all situation where you can print the work permit. You say, oh, jolly, oh, this is great. I just overstayed my visa. Let me print that work permit application and apply for my work permit. If that was the case, everybody would overstay their visa and get the work permit, and it would be so easy, right? But that's not how it works. You cannot plan to overstay and then just plan to apply for a work permit. Doesn't work that way. Question, if I overstay, can I get a green card with married? So if you're married to a US citizen, then that's possible. How can you file for a green card when you have a T visa? So there are two ways. So you can either apply for permission to apply early, or you can wait after 3 years. Then you can apply for adjustment of status. So you can apply as a T visa holder through adjustment of status after 3 years of having it. I'm currently on a J1 visa and it expires in July. Can I qualify for a T visa? Now, keep in mind, I do have clients who have been mistreated by their J1 or H2B and H1B employers. It is possible. But keep in mind that the T status, just because your J1 expires, doesn't mean that you get to qualify for a T visa. You have to qualify for this based on the employer's, what did the employer do that made you feel trapped in the situation, forced to do work you didn't agree to, maybe underpaid, maybe they skipped out on your payments, they didn't pay you overtime, they didn't represent the terms of your agreement, or they didn't perform the terms of your agreement as promised or as you signed. These could possibly indicate that you could qualify for the T visa as a victim of labor trafficking, but it's going to be dependent on your circumstances. I have a pending asylum. Can I apply for T visa? I feel stuck with pending asylum since 2015. It is possible if you do qualify for T status, you can apply, but just because you're applying for asylum doesn't mean you qualify for T status. This is where, if you want confirmation whether T status is an option for you, you need to schedule the appointment, because we need to have a very personal conversation about what you're going through right now. That's the difference between other attorneys and my law firm is here, is that our conversations are very personal, because when I am determining whether my clients qualify for T status, we do have to get to the ugly facts and circumstances about what you've been through, what you're facing, what what you're feeling. And so we need to talk about whether you qualify for T status based on what you've been through here in the US. Will I support you after you file for a marriage green card? Filing alone isn't going to protect you here. You definitely want to have something on record, of course, if you qualify. You should not be waiting. If you're afraid of being deported, get on your process that you qualify for. But sometimes, regardless, it may not protect you. It means, though, that you need to get on it so you can get to the result, get to the end result of your process, so you won't be deported. But it also, whether you're going to be deported while applying for a marriage green card, depends on what's going on in your background. Right now, ICE is not just going and picking up people and deporting them for being undocumented. But you know, it depends. Are you a threat based on your past? Are there any criminal issues that make them feel as if you are? It's not in the best interest of the community to have you out on the street. If that's the case, then it doesn't matter about you applying to file for the marriage green card. They may still detain you. But this is where it's important to take action. Can't stress that enough. If you are fearing deportation, take action. You need to first do a consultation, take action. How long does the process take? So now the T status does take about 1 year right now. It takes anywhere from 6 months to 18 months, but on average, 1 year to get a decision. So get on it right away. How long did the process take? So I answered that. I have experienced something like this. Give us a call. We can help you. If my I-130 status says it's being actively reviewed, what does that mean? It means they probably don't need anything from you right now, and it's at the bottom of the pile on someone's desk. It doesn't mean they're looking at it right now, and they're going to make a decision any minute. Unfortunately, I've seen this currently being reviewed language go on for 9 months to a year before it even changed. How long does this process, how long did it take for the client to answer that? So on average, it's taking about 1 year to get these decisions. Can you get green card if you pass through the border? Yes, absolutely. It's possible. Can everybody who passed through the border get green card? No. It's not possible for every single person, but you do have to qualify. I think one thing that's very hard to that I have to keep repeating about here is this immigration is not a one size fits all. One solution to get the green card may not be somebody else's. And so, someone who cross a border, so for example, VAWA, we've gotten this for T's for our clients who cross a border, even without permission. We've gotten this for VAWA clients who've crossed the border without permission. But it doesn't, just because you cross the border doesn't mean you're going to get a green card after you cross the border. It means that our clients who cross the border qualified for VAWA, qualified for T status, that have still allowed them to get status here, regardless of that. So this is where it's important to talk to me. Let's talk about what happened in your case and decide whether one of these solutions fit. How long will it take for if my mom filed for me, age 38, so 5 to 7 years? If you qualify for a T status, does that mean I can stay and live in the US or would have to go back home after some time? So T status means you can stay and live here in the US. And then apply for your green card so you can stay here permanently. And then you can get your citizenship after you get your green card and stay here permanently. Can the T visa be used to travel abroad? Now, they do allow you to get what's called advanced parole while you have the T status. However, I do treat this, I think when our clients do this, they need to tread lightly, because when you have T status, if you leave without any kind of advanced parole, any permission, you will not, you will lose your status. So they do allow for advanced parole, but it depends on the current administration policies. You have to pay attention to current policies to make sure that they're not going to give you a hard time to get back into the country if you travel on the T status. I came to the US at the age of 5 and now I'm 21. I have overstayed my visa and my father is now a naturalized citizen. Can I stay, file to get my green card and work permit in the US? So unfortunately, based on these facts, it's not going to be that straightforward. You're not going to stay here and apply for the green card and get the work permit. You're going to have to go through what's called the I-601A waiver process, unless you qualify for an alternative, like what I've been talking to you about before, T visa, VAWA. If, for example, if your parent mistreated you, you could do VAWA only if they mistreated you. I don't know what your situation here is, but if they mistreated you, VAWA could be an option, and then you could stay and get the work permit that way. But you know, it depends. It really depends. Can an F1 visa holder enlist in the Army after studies? So I am when it comes to the military, it's all, if you want to get an answer, straight up answer, you should always check in with a military recruiter, because I'm not an expert on military, signing up for the military. But what I have heard here is that the military does require you to have permanent resident status or citizenship to join the military. Can a U.S. citizen petition for you if they have been jailed for fraud and jailed for 1 year? It's possible. Yes, but as long as none of that involved a minor. All right, I'm coming around to the questions. So here on TikTok, I'm gonna go here on YouTube and then TikTok. So bear with me, keep putting your questions in, and I'm gonna scroll through and answer your questions here. How long do I have to wait for U visa approval after getting bona fide determination letter? So the actual U visa approval is taking around 7 to 10 years, but you will get a work permit and deferred action for about 4 years. You'll get a work permit for 4 years, that and social security number that can, hold you over until that U visa approval comes through. What am I protected from when I have a pending T visa? So having a pending T visa application does not necessarily protect you from anything. That is one of the things that is very nerve-wracking for my clients, is while it's pending, it doesn't mean you're protected. However, would you rather not have anything at all, or would you have something that when you know you get the decision on it, you are protected? So it's not about what you're getting while you're applying for the T visa. For with VAWA, you do get your work permit, you get your social, so it helps you in that respect. But with the T visa, you have to wait until it's approved to get the work permit and so forth. But it's better you have it pending than not at all, because if you don't have it pending, you'll never get to a good result and have protected status here. So I think you should never let the idea of what do I get while I'm applying stop you from applying for something that eventually will pay off and give you all the benefits and protection you need to have. Is there a way to expedite U visa application? You can submit an application to request to expedite. It's 7 to 10 years wait. And it really has to be compelling for them to speed it up, because they do give you a lot of benefits while you wait for the U visa. They give you the work permit, they give you deferred action so that you can continue to be here while you wait for it. So the likelihood of them expediting it, unless you really have a compelling reason for that, is might be slim. Good afternoon. Is work permit come first before T visa? T visa approval, then work permit. What is there an interview from law enforcement agency if I file for the T visa? It really depends on the goals of my clients. It is differs from case to case, from client to client. There's not always an interview, and it also depends on what the goals of my clients are. Some clients would rather have it to be very confidential, and they don't want to go through an interview process. Some of my clients, they want justice. They want law enforcement to pursue this situation that they were put in. And so it really depends on the goals of my clients, and that's what we have to discuss first. We have to discuss a strategy, because when it comes to the T visa, we have to look at my clients' goals. What do they want out of this process, this T visa process? If you get prima facie, where can the individual take it to and get help, and what kinds of help you get from such a letter? So you can now, the prima facie varies from state to state. You can always go to the like a human services office to determine what kind of benefits the prima facie letter can get you. You can contact the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, to determine whether they'll allow you to have a driver's license or ID based on prima facie. So I do know in Florida they do allow for you to have your ID or your driver's license while you're waiting for your work permit, and you get a prima facie letter. So it's possible in some states to get that. After 16 years in this country and a very bad marriage, I want to thank you for the videos you make and information you provide. My VAWA case is already well advanced. They approved my work permit. Awesome. Congratulations. They gave me my social in a period of 6 months. I know it was not with you, but I really appreciate your videos and the information I provide. So right here, thank you so much and congratulations. I'm so glad that my videos have given you the information you need to empower yourself. And right here in this question I listed, it showed you all the benefits here. So work permit, social security number came, and right now they're issuing 5-year work permits, and social security numbers, and 5-year travel document. By the way, travel document is also very important to some of my clients, because some of my clients that have not been able to see their families in their own countries can travel on the travel document. They get all of that while applying for the VAWA. So it means a lot, and I'm so glad that have that reassurance and security. Does a person who overstays their visa need to file for forgiveness if he or she is T2 pending? No. Well, it depends. No, it depends on the facts here. If an overstay alone, no. Uh, Overstay alone does not require one to have forgiveness. However, if you cross the border without permission, or if there are any other inadmissibilities, or if a 3 to 10 year bar is triggered where they were here, then they left, then yes, they may need a waiver. And all of that is included with our representation. So we do a holistic evaluation for our clients. And then if our clients need this forgiveness, it's included in their packet and we send it off for them. And usually they're very forgiving. If the immigration service, of course, we do have to argue on behalf of our clients, but if the immigration service does find that a client qualifies for T status, usually that as long as we've made the proper arguments, the waiver is approved along with because the waiver has to be approved before the T visa. So it depends on circumstances, but overstaying alone doesn't necessarily require a forgiveness. I approve for T visa and my work permit it has to be expired soon. Until now, I don't have any decision. So I think you mean you applied for a T visa. So it's taking time, and it can range anywhere from 6 months to 18 months. It all depends on what your situation is. Good evening. If I send my documents in by tomorrow, will it be okay? Okay. So April 1st. So fees are going up, by the way. So on April 1st, it's going up. It has to be stamped by the post office before April 1st for you to still get the old filing fees. So keep that in mind. I filed for VAWA and now my husband wants to petition for me. I don't know if that will affect the petition my husband is filing for me. So here's what I say to this. And I think I've even done lives on this, right? If you're filing for VAWA because and obviously you're filing for VAWA because your spouse is mistreating you, usually that's gonna be the proper way to go. Because that spouse usually, based on my experience, that spouse will never want to see you get the green card. And usually that spouse is, I can bet right now they're telling you they're going to file the papers because maybe they want to sweet you up, they want to manipulate you, they want to reinforce their control over you, because that's what this process is to a spouse like that. It is a means to control you. And as long as they can dangle it over your head and they can tell you they're gonna move forward in the process, then they feel hot and cold. They want to apply for you, they're gonna do it, and then the next day it's like, oh, they're in a bad mood or you did something that upset them, so they say they're not gonna apply for you. And then when it comes to the interview time, they're stressing you out because they're going to the interview, they're not going to the interview, they're going to the interview, they're not, right? They go to the interview with you and they sabotage you. So if you've applied for VAWA here and your spouse is now wanting to apply for you, it can very well affect your process, right? Because if you applied for VAWA, going in, the officer cannot say anything to the spouse, but they can question your credibility about, because when you go into these marriage-based interviews, the spouse, you don't have to be a perfect couple, but they do want to see that you're a bona fide couple. And you're not going to show the worst side of the both of you. You're not going to talk about abuse. You're going to talk about the best parts of each other and the best part of being with your spouse in that interview. Even though the officer knows you're not perfect, you don't have to be, they still want to see the good side of you, and they can take those facts and then compare it to this VAWA application you submitted, and Before you know it, you're accused of fraud, or you're accused of being inconsistent or not credible. So you have to tread very carefully here. If the spouse is applying for you, you applied for VAWA, now spouse wants to apply for you, you really do have to think about this, and whether it's a good idea to move forward with that. They received my application for AOS last November 1st, 2021. There's no response. So you have to contact them to find out what's going on with your case. Can someone who has been in the US for over 20 years without green card, could they file for herself? Yes, through T status, it's possible. I've had a client here who was here for, I think, 30 years, and we got the T status. Do the traffickers notify of your T? Absolutely not. They will not be notified. It's extremely confidential. How can someone get direct contact with you? Go to the link in the description of the video. You will see the link. Click on that. It's at the Linktree. At the top, click to schedule your own appointment. You can go to the website, call the number, or you can fill out the form and we'll contact you. All right, so you submit 2 date of births. So, if you submitted 2 date of births, yeah, you definitely need to straighten that out. But I don't know the facts here, so this is where you have to consult with an attorney about that, because yeah, it can be a problem. All right, so here I'm on. You're welcome. And if you need assistance, go ahead and give us a call. Thank you so much for that. Thanks a lot. You're saving so many lives. God bless you. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. All right, so here I am on TikTok. I'm going to answer some questions. Please put your questions in the comments. I'm spending a little more time today because I know I wasn't here for a while. So I'm going to scroll through and answer these quickly. Now, it's about 3 years almost time for adjustment of status for your T status. Yes, exciting. Give us a call if you want to move forward with that. I've received my EAD attached with advance parole. Do I have to attend an interview? It depends. Getting the EAD and advance parole doesn't mean they're going to waive the interview. So you still have to look out for that to see what they plan to do. How long after file and VAWA application you get a response? So how long after filing the VAWA application does it take to get a response? I'd say 2 weeks, maybe during a busy time, maybe 2 to 4 weeks to get the receipt notice. What's the time frame for work permit after approval? So about it could be anywhere from 9 months to a year. Work permits overall at the Vermont Service Center, it's about 9 months to a year. I don't play the okay, so I don't know what that's about. I am okay, sister in the US. I am Canadian citizen, have sister in the US. Can she sponsor me? I want to move here. So if your sister is a US citizen and 21 or older, she can petition for you, but it's going to be a long time. It's going to be about 14 years. So don't come overstay and think you're going to get through right away. You're going to have to wait 14 years. My wife immigrated here, went through hell for a green card. Yes, many of my clients go through hell here. They go through a lot to get the green card, and many immigrants who are here, they start out undocumented, and yes, they go through hell to get the green card. Having an approved T visa application is a testament to that. They go through these kinds of mistreatment, abuse to get to status. It's sad, and it shouldn't be that way. My I-94 just up and married to a US citizen. What should you do? Give us a call, schedule an appointment. Let's talk about the next steps. I would say apply, but I don't know what your situation is. We need to talk more. How long does it take to get work authorization, travel documents from marriage? 3 to 6 months. The shortest I've seen is 2 weeks. What if you're working for them and they told you they would sponsor you, but when you do your investigation, you found out they lied? T visa. So that is, while I can't guarantee that the results in my client's case is going to be the same result in the future until I evaluate your facts. What I can say here is that's the first sign that you qualify for T, because it is labor trafficking by fraud. Would you have worked for the employer? Would you have overstayed your visa had the employer told you that they come work for me? You're going to overstay. You're going to go through hell. I'm going to make work you to the bone, but come work for me and I'm not going to give you anything. Would you have worked for them? Probably not. But by using the sponsorship, they lured you into that situation. You would not have worked for them. You would not have been willing to go through what you went through had they not made that promise. So that's the first indication that you may qualify for T. Um, how does it take to USCIS to respond to RFE? Could take anywhere from 2 weeks to 4 months. It depends. How long does it take for an international student to get the green card when married to a green card holder? So it can take, right now there's a priority date, meaning if there's a wait list. So where it used to be, within maybe a year, like being the spouse of a citizen, it's now turned into possibly a year and a half just to see the priority date become current, and then to go, as long as you still maintain your status, you can go through adjustment of status. So it depends what your situation is. What if some had to leave the job because the situation was bad? Can they still qualify for T? Absolutely. You don't need to be working for the person still to qualify for T. This could have happened 20 years ago. And if you're sitting here, you remember that you went through this bad situation 20 years ago. You can qualify for this. Do you work permit for people who overstay their visa? So my clients, many of my clients have overstayed, and yes, but overstaying alone doesn't qualify you for the work permit. But what I do is I evaluate whether we can still fix that situation based on circumstances, family relationships of my clients. I have withholding of removal for more than 10 years. Can I apply for VAWA? If I have a strong case, yeah, it may be possible. A part of that process, though, is that we would have to go back, reopen, and terminate your proceedings after the VAWA is approved. Um, After approval of T visa, how long have to wait for the green card? So at most 3 years, there are ways to apply for it early. Is there a high chance for approval for T visa if there's no proof? So proof, let's talk about that. You do not have to prove beyond a doubt that this happened. What the immigration does require is they require you to submit a detailed statement. This is where we help our clients to put their application process together, including the declaration, their statement that tells the immigration officer what happened, and the officer gauges the credibility of your application. They know based on the detail, the level of detail that you've provided, that this cannot possibly be something you're making up. And then in addition to that, if you have other types of credible evidence, that means believable evidence, text messages, airline tickets, emails, other types of communication with the person, the employer, contracts, timesheets showing that you were there, then that can also be accepted as evidence. But the most important evidence is going to be your statement. So, if what I say here is, don't think about what you don't have. If you have everything that happened to you up here, then we can work with that. As long as you can remember what happened, we can work with that. Which state are you from? So we are located in Florida. We represent clients all over the country and the globe. How long does it take to get work authorization travel document from marriage? So 3 to 6 months. What's a T visa? Oh boy. So T visa is for people who have been um, lured into employment situations, intimate partner situations, family situations where you have been lured to come with a family member, live with them, and you end up working for them. Is if you are in a situation where you feel stuck, and you feel stuck because of what somebody is doing to make you feel stuck, made you feel afraid to leave, whether you're afraid to leave your shelter, you're afraid to leave because you'll get deported, they're scaring you into thinking that they have power to get you deported, or they have power to get you arrested, or they have the power to take away your shelter and food and your finances, and they keep you in that situation and benefit from having you there, whether you're cleaning their house, you're working for them, whether they're telling you to perform certain acts to their benefit, then this could qualify you as a victim of labor trafficking or sex trafficking. So that in a nutshell. So the T visa allows you to get relief. It allows you to get your work permit, your updated status here, and eventually you can stay here, apply for your green card, and your relatives, your children can qualify for this. So the T visa provides relief for people in those kinds of situations. How to ask permission to apply earlier for the green card, for T visa. So it is a process, and we do have to reach out to the Department of Justice. We have to confirm with the Department of Justice that we have gone through the processes under the T visa, and then from there they will send a letter confirming that okay, you've finished the processes for T visa. You have been approved for T visa. You can now apply early. So they'll send, we call it an early adjustment letter. How long does it take to get work? So I answered that. What documents are needed to start your filing for green card? So it depends on what you're applying for. Can one switch from asylum to marriage base? It depends. It's possible, but it depends on what the situation is. If overstayed, can your U.S. citizen mother file for you? If you're under 21, yes, easy peasy. But if you're 21 or over, that's going to be a 5 to 7 year process, and it's not going to be as straightforward as you think it's going to be. If I'm in the US on work permit and I married a US citizen, how long does it take to get? I didn't see where I sent RFE for adjustment of status, 6 months, no response. I-130 was approved 2 years ago. So yeah, that's very case specific. You're definitely going to need help with that one. You can always call, schedule an appointment, and we can talk to you about it, but you're going to need some help, or call USCIS and try to give them a nudge by finding out why it's taking so long. Can I apply for a tourist visa for my son while his I-130 is under review? It's possible, but getting a visitor's visa, it depends on a number of factors. Um, how long does it take to get the work permit, and why do you have to do a biometrics to get a work permit? Biometrics is for background check. They want to look into your background, make sure you qualify to get the benefits of a work permit. Can I get a visa while filing? It may be possible. It just depends on what kind of visa you're applying for. All right. So that's gonna be it for me today. Tomorrow I am gonna planning on joining again. The workday is really busy, so please bear with me. I usually like to come on at 12:30. I'm trying to get back onto that schedule, but if you don't see me come on at 12:30, just follow me, and when I go live, then you just hop on to the appointment with me. Hop on to the live with me and you can start asking your questions. So just follow me, you'll get notified I'm on live, and then you can ask your questions. I do see more and more questions coming in, but I do have to end the live now to get back to my affairs for the day. So tomorrow, save your questions, and tomorrow just hop on, put those questions in the comments, and I'll scroll through to see if I can answer those questions tomorrow. Thanks again so much. Thanks again, guys, and it's so nice to see you all after taking a break. I will see you tomorrow. Save those questions. And remember, if you want particular specific legal advice about what you qualify for, schedule your appointment. That's going to be the best place to get the answers and the help you need. All right. Have a good one. Bye bye.